Some decisions arrive politely, dressed as options. Others kick the door open, take your calendar hostage, and ask whether you prefer ivory or champagne. By Monday morning, my engagement had developed momentum. I disliked momentum. Momentum was what people called a bad idea, once enough people had begun applauding it. I woke up to sunlight cutting through the linen curtains, my phone buzzing against the nightstand, and the immediate memory of Alex's mouth on mine in my kitchen. Not helpful. Not morning-friendly. Not the sort of thought a woman should have before coffee, especially when the woman in question was sleeping in the East guest suite with a mildly injured ankle, a legally questionable fiancé, and a mother who had apparently mistaken my private life for a philanthropic initiative. I lay still for a moment, staring at the ceiling. The kiss came back anyway. Not as a memory. As an accusation. Her hand at my jaw. The slow pressure of her mouth. The unbearable patience of it. The way she had waited for my yes, then kissed me like she had been calm only because she had decided not to rush something she wanted. That was the dangerous part. Wanting was simple. Wanting could be dismissed, managed, filed under chemistry, and ignored until it embarrassed itself into silence. But restraint? Restraint suggested intention. I did not care for that. My phone buzzed again. I reached for it, already irritated. Kate, Daniel wants to know if you should buy a suit. I said no, because surely you are not getting married because Mom got bored at a gala. Please confirm I am correct. I stared at the screen. Then another message came in. This one from my mother. We need to talk this morning. Arthur has become conversational. I sat up. Conversational, from Evelyn Dawson, did not mean Arthur had shared a charming anecdote over coffee. It meant Arthur had spoken to people. Important people. People with spouses, calendars, group texts, and a spiritual need to be first with information. I typed back, define conversational. Her reply came instantly, publicly delighted. Then, privately useful. Then don't panic. It makes the face less strategic. I threw the phone onto the bed. It bounced once and landed face up, still glowing. Another message appeared from Alex. Your mother just texted me. Don't wear anything with aggressive shoulders today. Should I be worried? I closed my eyes. This was my life now. A woman kissed me once and immediately became subject to my mother's wardrobe strategy. Yes. About the shoulders? About all of it. Coffee? I looked toward the bedroom door. The house was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that knew something had happened and was waiting to see whether I would admit it. Me, I can make my own coffee. Alex, I know. I asked if you wanted coffee, not whether capitalism has failed you. I did not smile. I absolutely did not. I placed the phone beside me, got out of bed, and stood there for several seconds considering whether I could remain upstairs forever. I had a company to run, a mother to contain, a false engagement that had begun developing live roots, and a woman downstairs who had kissed me until my body briefly forgot its loyalty to skepticism. Avoidance was not an option, which was unfortunate, because I was excellent at it when given appropriate conditions. I dressed in black trousers and a cream blouse, because wearing black again would only make my mother happy in the wrong way. I put on the ring last. It slid onto my finger with insulting ease. I looked at it. The diamond looked back with calm, expensive judgment. Downstairs, Alex was in the kitchen. Of course she was. My kitchen had known her for less than a week and had already betrayed me emotionally. She stood barefoot near the stove, hair pulled back, wearing soft gray joggers and a black tank under an open white shirt. There were 2 cups of coffee on the island. One was clearly mine. She turned when I entered. The room changed. Not dramatically. Not like in a film, where music swelled and people forgot their lines. Worse. Naturally. Her eyes moved to my face first. Then to my hand. The ring. Then back. Morning, she said. Good morning. We sounded civilized. Terrifying. I stopped at the island but did not sit. Alex pushed my coffee toward me. You slept? She asked. Enough. That means no. It means enough. Rich people have a beautiful relationship with denial. Trainers have a beautiful relationship with unsolicited commentary. She smiled faintly. I picked up the coffee. Perfect again. I was beginning to resent how well she listened. There was a silence. Not the easy kind. The kind with memory in it. Alex leaned back against the counter, one hand wrapped around her mug. I'm not going to make last night difficult, she said. I looked at her. That was the problem with Alex. She walked directly toward the thing everyone else agreed to avoid. I didn't think you were, I said. That was very polished. It was also true. Half true. Alexandra. Viv. The short name landed softly. Too softly for a Monday. I took a sip of coffee. If you're about to process feelings before 8, I need written notice. I'm not processing. I'm clarifying. That sounds like processing with better shoes. Her mouth twitched. Then she set down her mug. Last night happened, she said. Yes. I wanted it. My fingers tightened around the coffee cup. Direct. Unreasonable woman. I gathered. And you said yes. I remember. I'm not assuming that gives me access to anything else. The words loosened something in my chest before I could stop it. I looked down at the ring. Good. But I'm also not going to pretend it meant nothing. I looked back up. There she was. Calm. Steady. Ruining my options. It was 1 kiss, I said. 2. Technically. Technically matters in contracts, doesn't it? Not in kitchens. Shame. The edge of humor helped. A little. Do you regret it? She asked. I hated the question. Not because I did not know the answer. Because I did. No, I said. It came out quieter than intended. Alex did not smile. That was what made it worse. She simply nodded, as if I had handed her something delicate and she had the good sense not to wave it around. Good, she said. Then my phone rang. My mother. Saved by the architect of my destruction. I answered with more force than necessary. Mother. Come to my house at noon, she said. No. Bring Alexandra. No. Arthur has told 3 people that you and Alexandra are as good as married. One of them called to congratulate me on the wedding. I went still. Alex watched my face change. My mother continued. By the end of the day, this will either become a charmingly fast romance or a weak engagement with questions attached. Arthur has no right. Arthur has a mouth, darling. Rights were never his preferred framework. I turned away from Alex slightly, as if privacy could be created through angles. This is exactly why we should correct the rumor. No, my mother said. No. No. Correcting it now makes you look cornered. Worse, it makes you look available for speculation. I am available for rage. Very energizing. Use it later. Mother. Listen carefully. You can hate the method. Try not to hate the math. I closed my eyes. She was using her bored voice. The one that made resistance feel emotional and compliance feel inevitable. I am not getting married because Arthur Wexley can't control his own tongue. Of course not, she said. You're getting married because the story has outrun the engagement, and we either catch it gracefully or let it drag you. Across the kitchen, Alex's expression sharpened. She had heard enough. I did not know whether to be grateful or mortified. Possibly both. You need to stop, I said to my mother. I will stop when stopping produces better outcomes. Do you hear yourself? Clearly. That's why I'm effective. I heard papers moving on her end. Of course there were papers. The ceremony can be private, she said. Small. Elegant. Legal. No spectacle. A judge I know can come to the house on Friday. Friday. Alex straightened. I stared at the garden beyond the kitchen windows. The bougainvillea looked violently pink in the morning light. Absurd. The world should have dimmed out of respect. You scheduled a judge? I made an inquiry. That is not better. It is less binding. Mother. Vivian, she said, and the name landed with steel under silk. You are allowed to refuse. But refusal is also a public statement, and yours has terrible timing. I said nothing. Alex did not move. My mother softened by a fraction. I know you're angry, she said. Be angry. Then think. I am thinking. No. You're defending. Thinking will come after coffee. I looked at the coffee in my hand. Traitorous beverage. Noon, she said. Both of you. Then she hung up. I lowered the phone. Alex said nothing for a moment. Then, very calmly, Friday? I looked at her. Apparently, she scheduled a judge. She made an inquiry. Alex gave me a look. Yes, I said. That is what I said. That woman is a full military campaign in earrings. I know. Alex exhaled slowly and turned toward the counter. For the first time since this began, I saw real pressure settle into her shoulders. Not fear. Not regret. Wait. That did something strange to me. Because until then, Alex had been the steady one. The amused one. The woman who could turn madness into terms and flirtation into leverage. Now she was standing in my kitchen, hearing the word Friday, and looking at the floor as if my mother had finally found the place where even Alex needed a second. Alex, I said. Her eyes lifted. I'm not agreeing to this because my mother booked a judge. Good, she said. Good. Yes. I don't want to marry someone who can be bullied into it. That is unexpectedly reassuring. I do have moments. Rare but noted. She looked at me for a long second. Then her mouth curved. Small. Tired. Real. We need to talk before noon, she said. Yes. And this time, no guest suite strategy. That is not relevant. It is extremely relevant if we're discussing marriage. I set down my coffee. Marriage. The word sat there on the kitchen island, much heavier than engagement, less decorative, less deniable. Marriage did not care whether it had begun as strategy. It simply became law. This is insane, I said. Alex nodded. Yes. You agree. Yes. Without qualification? With many qualifications. But yes. I laughed once, sharp and helpless. Wonderful. We've achieved consensus on madness. Alex stepped closer, then stopped before she got too close. I noticed. Of course I noticed. There's one more thing, she said. What? If we do this, even for the wrong reasons, I need it to be clean between us. I watched her carefully. Meaning, not romantic. Not perfect. Clean. We don't punish each other for your mother's decision. We don't use Arthur as a third person in the room. We don't pretend this is normal, but we also don't treat each other like collateral damage. Collateral damage. That was what I had been trying not to feel like. I looked at her. You sound very reasonable for someone whose life is also being hijacked. I'm less reasonable in private. Is that a warning? Her eyes warmed. It can be. There it was. The heat under the discipline. The memory of last night moved between us again, close enough to touch. I looked away first. Do not flirt during crisis management. I'm multitasking. You're impossible. You keep saying that like it's new information. At noon, we arrived at my mother's house. Evelyn lived in a Spanish-style estate in Hancock Park, all white stucco, dark beams, arched windows, and gardens that seemed too lush for a woman who claimed she did not have time for sentiment. The house had belonged to my parents since I was 9. My father had loved it. My mother had curated it. Together, they had somehow made it elegant without making it cold. I had not inherited that skill from them. I had inherited selective emotional constipation and a talent for quarterly strategy. Alex stepped out of the car and looked at the house for a moment. Beautiful, she said. Yes. It feels like her. That should frighten you. It does. Tastefully. I almost smiled. My mother opened the door herself before we reached it. That meant she had been waiting. That meant she was more nervous than she would ever admit. She wore soft blue silk, pearls, and the face of a woman prepared to ruin your life with excellent posture. Darling, she said, kissing my cheek. Mother. Alexandra. Mrs. Dawson. My mother sighed. Still. Yes. Pity. I had hopes for warmth before the ceremony. There is no ceremony, I said. She stepped aside to let us in. Then this will be a short conversation. It won't. No, she said, smiling faintly. It won't. Lunch was set in the garden room, where French doors opened onto a courtyard shaded by orange trees. Sunlight moved across old tile. A painting my father had bought in Santa Fe hung above the sideboard, all rust and gold and stormy blue. The room smelled like citrus blossoms and my mother's favorite tea. On the table, salad, poached salmon, fresh bread, berries. On the sideboard, a folder. I looked at it. My mother followed my gaze. Information, she said. Propaganda. Preparedness. Evidence. Alex murmured, I'm starting to see the family resemblance. I looked at her. Careful. My mother looked delighted. I saw it immediately. No one asked you. I rarely wait for that. We sat. For 10 minutes, my mother behaved like lunch was lunch. This was worse than if she had opened with the judge. She asked Alex about her morning. Asked about Gloria's shoulder. Asked whether the olive tree had settled into my living room. Asked Maria's opinion of the move-in, because apparently everyone in my household now reported to her emotionally. Alex answered with restraint. I ate salad like it had personally offended me. Finally, I set down my fork. Stop circling. My mother smiled. I wondered how long it would take. Not long enough to enjoy this. Very well. She reached for the folder. Alex leaned back. I remained still. My mother opened it. There are 3 options. No. Option 1, she continued, you remain engaged publicly, deny nothing, and allow the wedding rumors to grow. This invites speculation, more attention, and Arthur privately enjoying himself. Disgusting. Yes. Option 2, you correct the rumor. You say the engagement is recent, private, and no date has been set. That sounds reasonable. It sounds fragile, my mother said. It makes people wonder whether last week was impulsive, whether the engagement is unstable, whether James was a factor, whether I invented the whole thing. You did invent the whole thing. Yes, but I object to looking like it. Alex covered her mouth with her napkin. My mother continued, Option 3, you marry privately and quickly. No announcement until after. Small civil ceremony. Family. 1 photographer. Controlled statement. The narrative closes. The narrative closes, I repeated. Yes. My life is not a press release. No, but press releases do so much better when attached to one. Mother. She closed the folder. The humor left her face. There are men like Arthur in every room you enter, she said. Not evil men. Not stupid men. Men who believe stability means they should be allowed to design the structure. I made a move. It was extreme. I know. But now the question is not whether I should have made it. The question is what you do with the board as it stands. Alex looked at me. Not pressuring. Not rescuing. Just there. I hated needing that. I hated that it helped. My mother turned to Alex. And you, she said. You have every right to refuse. Alex held her gaze. I know. I would still compensate you for the disruption caused. I'm not worried about the money. I know. My mother's voice softened. That's why I chose you. The room went quiet. Alex looked down. For once, no immediate answer. Evelyn continued. You are not impressed by my daughter's money. You are not intimidated by her control. You are not hungry for access. And you do not seem the kind of woman who would punish her for being difficult to love. My chest tightened. Mother, I did not say impossible, she said. That is not the comfort you think it is. No. But it is the truth. Alex's eyes moved to me. I looked away. My mother reached for her tea. I am not asking you to save her, she said to Alex. That would be vulgar. I am asking whether, given the situation I have admittedly created, you are willing to enter it honestly. Alex was silent. Long enough that I looked at her. She was not looking at my mother now. She was looking at me. If we marry, Alex said slowly, I move into Viv's bedroom. I almost choked on air. My mother did not even blink. Traitor. Excuse me, I said. Alex's eyes did not leave mine. I'm not saying tonight. I'm not saying physically. I'm saying there is no guest suite version of marriage. My mother's expression remained perfectly neutral, which meant she was experiencing joy at an unsafe level. I leaned back. We are discussing legal damage control, and you've decided to invade my bedroom. I've decided I won't legally marry you and then live like a houseguest. You are astonishing. You knew that. I suspected. You have exceeded expectations. Good. My mother sipped tea. Do not look pleased, I told her. I am composed. You are vibrating. Internally, perhaps. Alex continued. Separate space if we need it. Boundaries. Conversations. Doors that close. But not a separate life under the same roof. I stared at her. What if I say no? Then I don't marry you. Simple. Clean. No threat. Just truth. I should have felt cornered. Instead, something in me steadied. Because Alex was not letting my mother set all the terms. She was setting her own. And strangely, that made the whole thing feel less like a trap, more like a choice I hated admitting I was making. Anything else? I asked. Yes. Of course. No other people. We established that. Now it becomes vows, not terms. The word vows moved through the room and changed the temperature. My mother lowered her teacup. Alex's voice stayed even. I don't care how strange this is. I don't care how it started. If I marry you, I am your wife. Not publicly. Not technically. Actually, we can be confused, angry, cautious, attracted, terrified, all of it. But I won't stand beside you in front of a judge and lie while pretending the lie is noble because everyone is wearing good fabric. I had no reply. For once, none. Alex looked at me with that unbearable steadiness. I can't promise love on command, she said. I can promise honesty, fidelity, respect, effort. I can promise I won't make you feel foolish for needing time. My throat tightened. I looked at my mother because looking at Alex had become risky. My mother's eyes were bright, not triumphant, soft, almost sad. Your father, she said quietly, used to say people underestimate what grows inside structure. I went still. She rarely brought him into arguments.